Welcome to Section 8, Competition Basics. In this course, we are going to learn about scoring basics, tournament rounds, competition formats, and attending tournaments. Scoring basics. Let's start with how the points work. Points on an archery target face go from 10 to 1. At the very center is the X ring. This is worth 10 points and should be written down on the scorecard as an X. X's can be used for tiebreakers. Next is the 10 ring, also worth 10 points. The outer gold ring is 9 points. Then the rings continue with 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Anything outside of the 1 ring is a miss and should be written down as an M. Before you begin scoring, remember to not touch any of the arrows or the target face. Arrows might be close to a line, and if you touch the arrow or target face, then you might mess up the call. Also, remember to pick up and leave your clipboards and scorecards by the target line. If they are close to the targets, it is easy to accidentally bump into the arrows. When writing your scores down, be sure to write them from highest to lowest, and then add up the end totals and running scores properly. It is your responsibility as the archer to ensure that your scores are correct. If an arrow touches the line between two rings, then it gets the higher score. For example, in this picture, the arrow touches the line and is worth 7 points. A good rule of thumb for these close calls is to check for any color between the arrow shaft and the line. In this example, the arrow clearly breaks the line and is worth 7 points. In this picture, the arrow touches the black and is worth 3 points, so no white could be seen between the arrow shaft and the black ring. In this last example, the arrow touches the blue and is worth 5 points. If there is an arrow that you're unsure about, make sure everyone on your target has a chance to check it. If they can't agree, then leave that arrow blank and finish scoring all of the other arrows. Then you can call a judge over for the arrow in question. Usually, you will have 2 to 4 archers on your target, and each of you will have a job. To make sure that scores are recorded and added up correctly, you will do double scoring. One archer will have all of the official copies, and another will use the set of archers' copies that can be taken home at the end. These two scorers must check the totals with each other to make sure that they are adding the scores correctly each end. A third archer will call out the arrow values from highest to lowest. The fourth archer is there to double check these calls, as well as help with ones that are close to the line. The two scorers will write these values down, add up the totals, and then double check with each other. Once this is done for the first archer's arrows, then you move on to the next archer. After all of the arrows have been scored, you need to mark all of the arrow holes with a small line. If an arrow bounces out of the target or passes through, then a judge will check for any unmarked arrow holes to determine the score. If the judge finds extra unmarked holes, then the arrow gets the lower score. During competitions, you will typically have 2 to 4 archers per target. Most tournaments with a lot of archers will have 4 archers per target and will run 2 shooting lines. Half of the archers will be in the AB line and the others will shoot during the CD line. The order of these lines alternates, so during the first end of scoring, the AB line will go first and then the CD line. After the archers score and retrieve their arrows, the CD line will go first, followed by the AB line. Sometimes, archers are assigned their position A, B, C, or D, or they can choose amongst themselves. The A and C archers will shoot from the left side of center, and the B and D archers will shoot from the right. The A, B, C, D positions are also important if small or single spot target faces are used. The target faces are arranged A, B, C, and D. Each archer must shoot their own target face according to their assigned position. Tournaments may also be set up so that each target has 3 archers. There is only one shooting line, so all 3 archers, A, B, and C, will shoot at the same time. Also, the target lanes are made wider so that all of them can fit. Since there are several archers per target, it is important that they initial their arrows on the shaft so that they know which ones are theirs. If you are holding a practice competition, a good way to keep track of arrows is to use colored tape and a number for each set. This is also a good way to keep your arrows organized for classes, as each student can be assigned to a set. How many points is this arrow worth? Good job. Fill in the blank. Well done. True or false? Archers should not touch the arrows or target until all of them have been scored. Correct. Now let's learn about the different tournament rounds. Competitions typically begin with a qualification or ranking round. A set number of arrows are shot at one or several distances, and from these scores the archers are ranked. The number of arrows and the distance depends on the tournament. However, in OAS, we will typically do a ranking round of 36 arrows, 12 ends of 3 arrows, at 9 meters for middle school, and 18 meters for high school. Also, 40 seconds are given for each arrow. So for an end of 3 arrows, 2 minutes are given. For comparison, at the World Championships, a full FIDA is shot for ranking. This involves 4 distances and 36 arrows at each distance. The men shoot 90 meters, then 70, 50, and 30 meters. The women shoot 70 meters, then 60, 50, and 30. At the Olympics, 72 arrows are shot at 70 meters for both men and women. Now let's learn about the team round. The team round competition is extremely fun as it adds a team dynamic to shooting. 3 archers make up a team. Each archer will shoot 2 arrows, and they must shoot one at a time. The entire team will have 2 minutes to shoot their 6 arrows. After 4 ends, the team with the highest score wins. The whistle system for the team round is a little different. 2 whistles tell the archers to get ready. They cannot cross the waiting line yet or take out their arrow. Once they hear the 1 whistle, then the first archer may go up to the shooting line and begin shooting. After shooting their 2 arrows, the archer shooting must then cross the waiting line before the next archer may go up. If the next archer goes up too soon, then the judge will give them a yellow card and they must go back behind the waiting line again before going up to shoot. After 2 yellow cards, a red card will be given, resulting in the loss of the team's highest scoring arrow. Lastly is the Olympic round. The Olympic round is when archers do head-to-head matches. From the ranking round, archers are given their rank and put into an elimination bracket. For OAS matches, we use 12 arrows and cumulative scoring. For earlier matches, we will do 2 ends of 6 arrows, and the archer with the highest score wins. For the finals, we will switch to 4 ends of 3 arrows, as this makes it more exciting for the spectators. Lastly, many competitions are now using the set system for matches. This is an exciting format that uses set points for the winner of each end. The first archer to 6 set points will win the match. Though OAS does not use this system, we encourage you to learn more about it in our additional training modules. Fill in the blank. Good job. True or false? Archers competing in the Olympic round do head-to-head matches with each other. Their placement in the elimination bracket is based upon their results from the ranking qualification round. That is correct. The answer is true. How many seconds do archers get per arrow during the ranking qualification round? 40 seconds is correct. Now that we have learned about the different tournament rounds, let's look at some competition formats. All OAS competitions use the 122 cm target face. There is a label in the bottom left-hand corner that tells you the size. For shooting distance, middle school archers shoot 9 meters and high school archers shoot 18 meters. OAS has several competitions throughout the year. Please be sure to sign up for our newsletter so that you receive all of our updates. In the fall semester, we have our annual mail-in tournament that is open to all OAS students. This is a fun way to introduce students to competition with archers from all across the nation. Then in the spring, we have our Archery League and Championships. More information will be presented in Section 9. For other tournaments, be sure to check what the format is. For example, archers shooting in the JOAD division, Junior Olympic Archery Development, shoot in specific classes according to their age. The distance and target face size changes according to these classes. For more information on JOAD, please visit their website. Similarly, you should check the format for college competitions. More information can be found on the USCA website, United States Collegiate Archery. Lastly, let's go over some helpful tips for attending tournaments. First thing is to register on time for the tournament. Next, make sure you are familiar with the schedule, format, local weather, and location. It is a good idea to print out maps of the area. Next, pack your bags. It is a good idea to keep a competition travel list so that you don't forget anything. This includes items like your equipment, spare parts, clothes, snacks, water, sunscreen, umbrella, and towel, depending on what the weather conditions will be. Tournaments have dress code rules, so make sure your clothes are appropriate. Your equipment should also be ready for the competition, so check things like your string, fletchings, and nocks. For the day of the competition, be sure to arrive early so that you can set up your equipment, warm up, stretch, and stretch band before the start of official practice. Also, check your target assignment and talk with your bellmates. At some point, either during the practice day or before official practice, you will need to do your equipment check. You will need to bring your equipment to the judge so that they can inspect it to make sure that it is all within regulation. Lastly, and most importantly, have fun. Which of the following is good advice when attending a tournament? Select all that apply. Good choices. True or false? All archery competitions use the same format, so you don't need to check it. That is correct. Fill in the blank. Well done. Thank you for finishing Competition Basics. Click here to proceed to Section 9, Archery League.